Do you have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something you believe in. Remember, difficulty strengthens the mind as labor does the body. One cannot go without the other. Like life, martial arts is a journey that never ends.
Back on deck on my fly shit. Really on my shit. Pay some respect to my mindset. Head blowing smoke, catch contact. Niggas really mad they can't stop us. Back on the scene, unconscious. Always blame me, I'm popping. I ain't really here for the gossip, nah.
I used to think I was a good guy with great values until martial arts exposed how wrong I was. People say strength sits on a foundation of values. I say your value sits on the foundation of strength. Meaning your values don't mean shit unless you can defend them. You can be a good moral person, but if you don't have the strength to protect your values and your loved ones, it literally doesn't mean anything. I had to learn this the hard way when I got bullied in high school. I'd be ashamed to walk around school not knowing how to defend myself. It's not until I started reading ancient Greek philosophy that got me into fighting, and it's actually this anime called Hajime no Ippo that got me to choose boxing as a martial arts. When I saw Ippo go from a soft boy to a strong and respected man, I couldn't help but want that for myself. And the thing I respected the most about Ippo is that he never allowed it to get into his head. He still remained the kind and respectful man he was, and the bullies that used to pick on him later became his greatest supporters. I think we can all learn a lot from Ippo and the ancient fighters that dedicated themselves to the martial arts. So in this video, I want to talk about 4 principles that fighting has taught me as a man that I think is crucial to embrace your inner masculinity. These 4 principles come from some of the greatest warriors to ever live, such as Miyamoto Musashi, Bruce Lee, and Sun Tzu. So starting with the first principle, fighting teaches you flexibility. And I don't mean doing the splits like Bruce Lee, but it reminds me more of what he says: you put water into a cup and it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. Be water, my friend. Water can take the shape of gas, liquid, and solid, meaning it can be flexible in any environment you put it in. So the ideal warrior must learn how to adapt to any situation through the right approach. According to Miyamoto Musashi, the right approach takes on 3 factors. The first one being absorb instead of memorize. I don't know about you guys, but every time I'd memorize for an exam, I'd completely forget all the subject a week after I took it. And that's because I didn't do anything to actually apply that knowledge. Fighting teaches you how to absorb and apply that knowledge into the ring, because as much as you want to memorize a jab, you will never be able to throw it properly unless practiced 1,000 times. I can't help but relate this to any high value skill in life, because it requires you to put in the basic reps over and over again. Think about any new skill you learn. It probably took you 30 to 40 hours to understand the basics, and it took you countless hours to actually get the advanced stuff. Anyone can learn the basics of any skills, but fighting teaches you how to make that skill second nature to your being. Muscle memory is the perfect example of turning a skill into an automatic and instinctive process through the mental and physical body. Training the body and mind is Musashi's second principle of flexibility. The best example I can give you for this is Conor McGregor versus Khabib. Conor was used to playing his mind games on every opponent he'd face, and then Khabib came into the picture. Conor still tried to play his games and get into Khabib's head, but Khabib didn't flinch, he didn't get taunted, and most importantly, he stood his ground against Conor's tactics. Khabib knew in his head that if he just focused on his training and stayed stoic against Conor, he would win. When it came to the final press conference before the fight, what did Khabib say? "I'm gonna smash your boy tomorrow." And what did he do? He smashed your boy. Even though Conor may have the capabilities to physically win that fight, mentally he was outmatched. You cannot beat someone with that level of self-control. This experience taught me that the physical cannot be complete without training the mind, and the best way to train the mind is in Miyamoto Musashi's last principle of flexibility, which is cultivating self-control. In the pursuit to self-mastery, the man is less likely to fall victim to any distractions on his path.
You can spend time with girls, you can go to parties, this and that. You have all these options available to you, but the ones who go to that are never going to be the ones who are going to be successful fighters.
The idea of self-control always fascinated me, and fighting has taught me that we must be in control of ourselves if we want to fight to the best of our capabilities. In control of remaining sober, staying away from junk food, having a good sleep hygiene, and most importantly, having control of your thoughts and your actions. There is nothing in this world that isn't earned, and mastering the mind means conquering these small mental battles. Self-control is everything in this world. If you want something of value, you must have some level of self-control in order to get there. The last pillar of flexibility is coming from Bruce Lee, and he says, empty your mind. In martial arts, if you overthink what your opponent's gonna do, you're getting knocked out. As Seneca says, we suffer more in imagination than reality, and there's no better analogy than fighting. Because when you fight, you go into survival mode, and once you overthink what your opponent can do, you're done. How many of us overcomplicate a situation? The best advice and new motto that I'm living by is don't think, just do. When my inner demons are saying, Issa, go back to your 9 to 5, your dreams are never gonna come true, I say don't think, just do. What's the point of putting your body through so much pain, Issa? Don't think, just do. You're never gonna be a great writer. Don't think, just do. This is why we meditate and practice yoga. It's the practice of doing nothing that allows us to keep going in life. Emptying your mind is just another way of getting into a flow state. If you have time to complain about your situation, then you have time to work. Once you realize that your overthinking leads to your negative thoughts, which leads to a negative mood and then reflects into your negative life, then you must stop yourself at the negative thought, because how you see the world actually answers you in return. For example, if you choose to see the world through a positive perspective, then every problem and challenge you face will actually be looked at as an opportunity. Next time you realize that you're stressing and overcomplicating life, just empty your mind by journaling, meditating, doing some yoga. Just practice doing nothing. That's what it means to be flexible in this world.
You adapt to your circumstances. If I'm fighting a really tall guy, I might have to infight him. If I'm fighting a really short guy, I might have to use my range, stick to jab, 1-2, step out. Now, being water is being able to do all of them. If I'm a rock, I can only do one thing.
The second thing fighting teaches us men is self-discipline. Musashi believes it's the student's responsibility to apply the passive knowledge by themselves, because unlike other team sports like basketball and soccer, martial arts is a single sport. Nobody is there to bail you out. LeBron's not going to carry you to the finals. Nah, bro, you have to carry yourself.
You played soccer. If you ever have a fight, if you ever decide to have a fight, you'll notice in the first fight, first time you're in the ring, your stamina will start at half and you're going to be like, why am I so tired? I can spar 5 rounds, but this is 3 2-minute rounds in the fight and I'm getting gassed. How does that make sense? It's the pressure. It's elevated. Whatever you've done in non-contact sports, this is another level above that.
The self-discipline of fighting teaches you how to take a self-learning approach. So instead of being intimidated by a new endeavor, martial arts teaches us to welcome it with an open mind and be eager to learn and always remain a student. The second way fighting teaches you discipline is through the accountability you build in the gym. There is no better feeling than walking into the boxing gym and just smelling all that testosterone and sweat. Because you know that every mother effer in there is putting in work to better themselves. Do you know how motivating it is to train with other men who are also self-disciplined? It keeps you accountable to continue training. You build bonds with other men on a similar mission than you. And most importantly, you cultivate discipline. Discipline has saved so many men in there because a lot of guys walk in with emotional baggage or traumas that they're trying to work out. Some are dealing with family issues, some have low self-esteem, and if you're like me, you're in there because of your insecurities. Whatever the reason may be, all fighters would agree with me that the most important lesson you learn is discipline. It's there when you're hitting the heavy bag for 30 minutes non-stop. It's there to keep your hands up, otherwise you're getting smacked by your trainer. Discipline is there to go the miles on your road work even when your stamina's not there. Whatever you do in the boxing gym practices some level of discipline that will carry on into your life. Musashi says commit yourself to constant training and have an all or nothing attitude when it comes to winning. I absolutely love this quote because instead of depending on unfortunate circumstances, you're depending the responsibility on yourself. Musashi is telling us to fully commit to our discipline, and this is teaching us life's most valuable lesson, and that is to never give up no matter how much you get knocked down. The human spirit is necessary for victory, and victory is earned through the discipline of training. Just like discipline, you must commit to it. You have to be better. You have to want to be better. Martial arts teaches us to have an all-consuming desire to win our next fight, because this is what we train for, this is what we die for, and this is what we suffer for. To win. Winning is essential for victory. And even if we lose, we shake it off, we get back up, and we go back to work. That's what it means to have an iron mind when it comes to any discipline. This is something we can learn from all great fighters. Remember that, and not only will you be a great fighter, but a great man. The third thing fighting teaches you is integrity. Integrity means being honest and having strong moral principles. In today's world, all we see are weak men. It disgusts me that there are no more men with principles and values that they live by. We see men prioritize their short-term pleasures instead of their long-term commitments to their families, their wives, and their friends. It's disgusting to me that there are men out there that will ruin their marriage off one night of pleasure. How can I even trust you to be my friend if you're willing to take the shortcut in life? I can count on my 2 hands how many good men are out there, and I truly believe it's because we lack integrity, and the thing that teaches us integrity the most is martial arts and fighting. When you now understand that you've transformed your body into a weapon, you now have a responsibility to not harm the innocent and protect your loved ones. Jordan Peterson says that you should be a monster and learn how to control it. You have to be able to do harm and be dangerous if you want to be a good man, so that you can detect it and stop it when necessary. Boxing has taught me the integrity of letting go of my ego because it gave me this true confidence to avoid fights and unnecessary battles. Imagine someone trying to pick a fight with you and you know in your head how powerful you are because you can knock them out and you choose not to. You always see this in movies and anime. The calmer the guy is, the more fucked his opponent is. Fighting teaches you how to handle your emotions and protect you and your loved ones. Ironically, the last thing I want to do is pick up a fight, and that's why I learned martial arts, so I can actually avoid fighting as much as I can. I don't need to make myself feel better by talking shit and picking up unnecessary fights. The last thing fighting teaches you is how to take a punch, so aka resilience. In life, you will get beaten down to your knees countless times, and it is so crucial to get back up every single time. The first time you take a punch, it hurts like hell, but after doing it for a while, you get used to it and just shrug it off. Life is the same thing. It'll keep throwing throwing jabs at you, challenges, obstacles, and it'll keep testing you until you fold. If you don't have the ability to absorb those jabs that life throws at you, you are literally fucked as a man. Think about how many people in society are depending on you as a guy. Think about your future wife, your future kids, and your future family. If you don't know how to pick yourself back up, then how do you expect to help someone else back on their feet? I don't know about you guys, but I take pride as a man to be able to be useful whenever I'm needed. If you don't learn how to take hits and get back up, then you'll never succeed as a man. Because guess what? Anything that requires sacrifice, sweat, and an iron willpower lies on a man's ability to take hits and shake it off. The lessons you learn from just showing up and doing the work in the martial arts world puts you way ahead of the competition and makes you someone that you're proud of. Martial arts is a whole other world with a mountain of lessons, and I only scratched the surface with this video. So if you're thinking of picking up fighting or learning a certain discipline, then I'd highly recommend you jump into some sort of martial arts, because you will learn things that will change your life forever. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more content on masculinity, philosophy, and relationships. Until next time, guys.